Planning the future is the domain of global projects, each of which has its own vision, taking into account the values of different civilizations, including their particular characteristics and predispositions. The first and most venerable project, according to a number of experts from around the world, is the Solomon Plan. It is designed to last 3,000 years, from the consecration of Solomon's temple in 1004 BC to 1995. Goal: fulfilling the covenants of the Almighty, the essence of which is the correction of human aspirations, overcoming animal instincts, and turning people to spirituality under the guidance of good shepherds. Authors: Chaldean sages, adapted by Kabbalists. Kabbalah, the algebra of thought, the interpretation of the laws of the universe, from which all esotericism arose, the secret knowledge of initiates and the three world religions. According to Solomon's Plan, the final days of Roth, 1967 to 2040. The Great War will begin before 2028 and last until the 2040s. In 1995, the Hasidic rabbinate proclaimed, "The Messiah has already come. The eternal kingdom of Israel is at hand, when the house of Jacob will shepherd the nations of the world like flocks according to the covenant of the Most High." Plan executors, sons of the covenant, B'nai B'rith. Decision-making center, Britain, London. Media outlet, The Economist. One of the prominent managers was Mr. Kissinger. The second plan is another global project, the New Babylon. The heirs of Nimrod, who, according to biblical legend, initiated the construction of the legendary Tower of Babel, which the European Parliament building so closely resembles. Goal: building a transhumanist society, the triumph of digital technology. Method: convergence of cognitive, informational, artificial intelligence, biological, genetic engineering, and nanotechnology. Conceptual basis: the doctrine of the alchemists, Hermeticism, from which the Illuminati Freemasonry grows. Not to be confused with the Freemasons from the project mentioned above. The project's proponents, the New York Jewish intellectuals with a Babylonian Talmudic worldview, the executors of humane global hegemony, speculative market economics, liberal Democrats, neoconservatives, and the Democratic Party. The project is built on the premise against Russia, on the ruins of Russia, and at Russia's expense. These words are unfoundedly attributed to Mr. Brzezinski, but they capture the essence. The deadline is the disintegration of Russia in 2045. The third project is Great Europe. From Lisbon to Vladivostok. A project to preserve the old world order of the Papal Empire of Rome and the heirs of Japheth. Project carriers, royals, old European aristocracy. In particular, papal nobility and the Guelph elites, as well as the Habsburgs, Bourbons, Grimaldis, Holstein-Gottorp Romanovs. Decision-making center, Vatican. Project implementers, Opus Dei, Sovereign Order of Malta, Jesuit Order and Teutonic Order. The root of Christian doctrine, ecumenism, based on Jesuit morality. Immediate goals: the retribution of the Black International, possibly the conversion of the European Union from the Guelph to the Ghibelline format. There is an opinion that Russia's involvement in the project began in the 15th century, with the arrival of Sophia Paleolog, which was a Byzantine princess from the Palaiologos imperial dynasty and the Grand Princess of Moscow as the second wife of Ivan III of Russia. Moscow, the Third Rome, is from the same opera, the same anti-Saxon doctrine. In 1798, Emperor Paul I was proclaimed Grand Master of the Order of Malta. Nowadays, The Athonite Brotherhood also tried to influence the Russian Federation. Professor de Mattei, of the Black Nobility, digs even deeper. Russia will be punished for its sins and, ultimately, will return to the same Catholic faith that Saint Vladimir brought to Kiev on the eve of the year 1000. The fourth project, the New Caliphate, a worldwide union of faithful Muslims. The project is developing in two directions: holy war and state Islam. First, radical Islam, which proclaimed the creation of ISIS, or, in its more liberal form, if one can even call it that, the Taliban, in 2013, is waging a holy war, jihad, against Western civilization's deviation from the law of the universe. Second, State Islam, in the spirit of a confederation of Islamic countries, is led by Turkey. Centralized in Istanbul. The so-called Red Caliphate plans to unite 61 Asian and African countries and 4 European states according to the Turkish model of Islam. Russia, of course, will not be invited as long as it remains the Third Rome. The fifth project is the Chinese Great Union, Da Tung, a community of shared destiny for humanity, historically represented by Taoist sages, Confucian bureaucrats, and lodges of the Dragon Society. The political practice is currently carried out by the party structure. The implementation timeframe is 2044 to 2049, according to various sources. The Heavenly Empire belongs to everyone. This implies a great revival of the most populous nation, China, as well as the leading role of the middle state of the Yellow people in the harmony of a global world of shared destiny. The project inherits the thesis, communism is the bright future of all humanity. Envisages the transfer of strategic interests beyond national territories, on land, in the oceans, in space, and at the planet's poles. China is one of the key parties in the struggle for the Arctic. Therefore, the Heavenly Empire views Siberia and the Northern Sea route as its own, and is developing its strategic rear. And finally, a short message from the editor, especially for residents of Central Asian countries and other key logistics corridors, such as Ukraine or Kazakhstan. All 5 projects, in one way or another, aim to control your resources and your routes. No one will bypass you out of pity, so think twice, who to befriend and who to avoid provoking. Thanks for attention. Like, comment, share and subscribe for more interesting content.